ladies and gentlemen. We are live for what should be a great pre-game edition of the game coming this weekend. Guys, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to a pre-game edition of Believers Talk as we get you ready for the game between our Buffalo Bills and the 10-2 number one seed in the AFC, Baltimore Ravens. Do the Bills have a shot to win this game? I'm going to tell you why not only they have a shot, but they're really being underestimated for a chance not only to limit Lamar Jackson, but to stop Lamar Jackson outright. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. After you hit that subscribe button, go ahead and like this video. If you're not hitting the subscribe button, then just hit like this video and then comment. I always love answering the comments that I have. So again, thank you guys for joining me. Again, we're gonna have some fun here, guys. It's halftime currently of the Thursday night football game. I think last I saw the Bears were up 10-7. Cowboys still not looking that good. Hold on a second, that might be changing here as we're not quite at halftime. Again, you know I like to go live close to halftime, but yeah, it says 10-7 still with about 20 seconds left according to what I'm seeing on NFL.com. But thank you guys for joining me for this edition of Believers Talk. Again, we're going to talk about the game this Sunday between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. Again, a game that a lot of people are not giving us credit to win. You Uzi T, welcome. Go Bills, absolutely. Give me 1 second here as I continue to do some things to let people know that we are here. Let people know that we are here to talk about the Bills and Ravens. Go ahead and, like I said, hit that like button. Angry Buffalo sports fan, welcome. Glad you can join us on the stream. I know some of you are probably enjoying that stream over on Sports Fury. Great guys, Josh and Sean up there. And the great news is one's a Cowboy fan, one's a Bears fan, so you know that they're going crazy. Hey, Gary, welcome. Glad you can make it onto the stream. Again, I'm going to give you guys some time to roll in here. Let's have a good time. I know Blindsided Sports, Buffalo Bills, just had an episode come out earlier today when they were live, and they had a special guest on there, so make sure you check that out. And listen, guys, all week I've been listening to some good Buffalo Bills content, so make sure that you're listening to it too. You know, Dan Mitchell from Don Mafia, he put out a video about the Baltimore Ravens, put out some good stats. I'm not going to use those stats in my video just because, again, I don't want to steal his stats. Some good stats I did not know about, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already. The Bills are still 9-3, absolutely, Daniel. Yeah, I was just over at Sports Fury. It's funny, I imagine they're having a great time over there. I was getting ready for the stream, so I haven't joined them, but I might join them after the stream, that's for sure. And Anthony, Angry Buffalo sports fan, if I don't make it over there, make sure to let them know that I say hey, and I hope they're having a good time with the stream. But again, guys, welcome to Believers Talk, and I'm going to get into this video because there's a lot going on in this game, right? Again, 10-2 Baltimore Ravens coming up to Buffalo in a game that weather-wise doesn't look like weather is going to be much of a factor like it was in Baltimore for the game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. It doesn't look like it's going to be that much of a factor. I'm going to give you the weather report. Last I had the weather, it was going to be in the 40s on Sunday. In perfect conditions, still looking like the same. Looks like the wind's gonna be at 19 miles per hour, so that might play a factor, not for Justin Tucker, but for our kicker. But it's gonna be 45 degrees, mostly cloudy, 10% chance precipitation, so not much going on there. It's gonna be a beautiful day for December football as we enter the month of December, and the Buffalo Bills are doing a lot better than anyone would have predicted, sitting there at 9-3. So as Bills fans, we have to be happy with that. But we want to be better. We constantly want to get better, and that's the name of the game here, is how can we improve and how can we beat what many consider the best team in the NFL. Big test, up to 30-mile-per-hour winds in the stadium, I heard. Maybe 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts, because the wind that I just saw in the weather said 19-mile-per-hour winds, but you can imagine wind gusts would contribute to that as well. So maybe 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts in there, which will make it a lot like the Eagles game. We didn't fare too well in the Eagles game. Hopefully we can fare a little bit better here as the Baltimore Ravens come to town. Baltimore Ravens off a high, right? Beating a very impressive, very tough San Francisco 49ers team 2 weeks ago, beating, who they beat? The Patriots in primetime? So I don't know. They keep winning. The fact is they've won 8 straight, tying a franchise record for the Baltimore Ravens with a win against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday that will set the franchise record for most wins consecutively by a Baltimore Ravens team at 9. So we're hoping to avoid that. 4:38 p.m., 81 degrees. Kids out back throwing a football. Bills are still 9-3. Let's go. 21-22. Welcome, Jack Patrick. Thank you for the weather update in Hawaii. Those will not be the conditions Sunday for the Buffalo Bills game. I promise you that. I'm sure they would love it, but I don't think those would be the conditions this Sunday. Again, about 40 degrees on Sunday with some high winds, so that might play a factor, but we will see. Only 10% chance of precipitation, so no rain, no snow, should be good to go. So let's talk about some of my keys to victory, because like I said, guys, there's a lot going on in this video. There's a lot of stats that I want to get to that I really haven't heard. Some of these stats are new to me. I haven't heard them. Like I said, I've been listening to a lot of Buffalo Bills content. And guys, if you want a great hype video to get you hyped for this game, go over to #sports. They put out a hype video with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. It's awesome. Austin Church comes in our week. I would love to see it be our week, buddy. I know that you predicted the Buffalo Bills to win. I told you it was rigged. Now the Bills will take out the Ravens. Patriots next week. Put Brady against all odds for the ultimate Cinderella story. David Pelota, if that happens, I'd still be happy with the Bills winning the AFC East. Still couldn't take that away from me, but you still have to think that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have something up their sleeve, something yet to prove if that is the case. Poor Cowboy says Uzi T as the Cowboys are losing at halftime. I didn't see if Chicago scored right before the half. I know they were driving and the ball. They did, so it's 17-7. As if you watch my prediction video, I actually did pick the Dallas Cowboys to win that game. So we're going to see what happens in the second half. But, well, me too, says David Pelota. Yeah, that's I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that. So again, I want to get to our keys to victory in this game because I have a lot going on in this video. Like I said, Bears up 17-7, comes down. Garwees, yeah, I just saw that. So we'll see if Dallas can come back in the second half. I really don't care. Two NFC teams. I'll watch it. I'll probably head over to Sports Fury when I'm done here, but I don't care nearly as much as they do. That's for sure. Kansas City gonna beat New England, says Ostrich. I would love that. I would love to see Kansas City beat New England this Sunday as well. That would just be the cherry on top after we beat the Baltimore Ravens. So when we talk about the Baltimore Ravens, everyone's talking about limiting Lamar Jackson. Later in this video, I'm going to tell you how he straight up stopped Lamar Jackson. It's not limiting him. He can be stopped. There's a way to stop him, and it's been seen by our own eyes in 2019. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll tell you who it was, what they did, and how the Bills can duplicate that when they play them this Sunday. But my first key to victory is going to be simply red zone efficiency. Guys, the Baltimore Ravens defensively have one of the best defenses when it comes to red zone efficiency. They're currently 4th in the NFL in allowing teams to score touchdowns. Once again, the red zone, only allowing teams to score touchdowns on 44.1% of drives led in there. So a lot of times these teams sticking to field goals, which leads to another key to victory. If we have to kick field goals, and there will be times we probably have to, special teams, Steven Hauschka, you have to step up. You have to be able to make those kicks. I know the winds are going to be gusting, but you said you think you can make those kicks. Now's your time to prove it. I know how we stop him, don't cover anyone else. No, Jack Patrick, there is a way. There is a way. I'll let you know. But yeah, the Ravens are 4th in red zone defense efficiency, only allowing teams to score 44% of the time. That's a big number. The Buffalo Bills, that was one of our strong suits early in the season. We have fallen to 19th, allowing teams to score on 58% of their drives, score touchdowns on 58% of drives in the red zone. So you would think that's a good number, only allowing teams to score a little over half the times in the red zone, but it's 19th in the NFL right now. So we need to do better. Okay, we need to do better. We need to force them to kick field goals, and we need to be the ones scoring touchdowns. Again, if we trade touchdowns for field goals, obviously that's a recipe for success for the Buffalo Bills. If it goes the other way, that's a recipe for disaster real quick, especially since we don't nearly have the confidence in our kicker as they do on the other side, who just kicked a game winner this past Sunday to beat the San Francisco 49ers. My next key to victory is running the ball, both sides of the ball. You figure the Baltimore Ravens have the #1 rush offense, averaging over 200 yards a game. And guys, in the last 3 games, the Baltimore Ravens averaging about 240 yards per game rushing on the ground. And that includes last week when Lamar Jackson went off for over 100 yards and a touchdown, as the 49ers just had no answer. And we saw 2 roughing the passer penalties on the San Francisco, maybe more, I forget, on the San Francisco 49ers. So obviously there needs to be a way to contain him. And again, we'll get into that in a little bit. But their number one rush defense goes up against, or rush offense goes up against our 14th ranked rush defense. But here's the thing about the Buffalo Bills rush defense. In the last 3 games, you want to talk about the last 3 games where the Baltimore Ravens have rushed for over 240 or about 240 yards. Well, in the last 3 games, the Buffalo Bills defense has only allowed 70.3 rushing yards per game, which is second in the NFL in that time frame. So you're talking about in the last 3 games, the number one rush offense going up to the number 2 rush defense. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Now, some would say with Denver and with the Dallas Cowboys, they went away from the well a little bit too early, right? They stopped running the ball before they had to, and that's why those numbers might be a little inflated for the Buffalo Bills. But no matter if it's inflation due to the other teams not trying, or it's the Buffalo Bills defense stepping up when it comes to the run game, it still adds to confidence, right? You talk about the confidence this Buffalo Bills defense has going into this game. It's pretty high, right? It's pretty high. And it's not high around the world. You know, the national media talked more about how bad Dallas played than how good the Buffalo Bills looked. And Baltimore, they're sitting there on top of their mountain getting fed grapes right now, being told how great they look. Lamar being the best quarterback in the NFL, or you know, MVP candidate. You talk about how they have the best record in the AFC, they're number 1 seed, they might be the best team in the NFL, yada yada yada. They're getting fed grapes on top of their mountain. Well, every time the Buffalo Bills win, they're getting stuff thrown at them, and maybe not even looked at as we talk about how bad the other team is. So Buffalo in the locker room has confidence in what they are doing. You heard Coach McDermott say that earlier this week. It might not be pretty, but you know, we keep doing our job. That's the point. You just do your job. That's all that we ask of you. And if we do our job, then we have a good chance to win football games. Hit that like button. Daniel says, absolutely, guys. If you're in the room, go ahead, hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Lets other people know that we are here talking about the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens game. And guys, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button for continuing Buffalo Bills news. And that includes this Sunday as the Buffalo Bills play the Baltimore Ravens. I will be live with live play-by-play and reaction. Again, Hashtag Sports and Believers Talk teaming up to give you the best live play-by-play and reaction coverage to every single Buffalo Bills game, including this Sunday. I will join you on YouTube and also over on Sportscaster. So make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment as Ronald Enix comes in. What's up, Ronald? Good to see you. If we are losing in the first quarter, call 911 if I'm not texting. 8 a.m. is too early for that stress. Jack, I'll see what I can do. It's really hard to call 911 and get someone to Hawaii, though. You know what I mean? From the East Coast all the way to Hawaii, I don't know how that would work out. Maybe it works out great. I have no idea. I've never tried it, but maybe Sunday is a good time to try it. You never know till you try. So maybe we'll give that a try. But Jack, I hope you're in the room with us. I hope that we all have a good time this Sunday. Oh boy, Josh Allen has been impressive the last 3 weeks. The same last 3 weeks Stable's been in the booth. Interesting how that works out, right? Interesting. What a coincidence, as they would like to say. So then you look at our rush offense. You have the number 5 rush offense in the Buffalo Bills, a team that keeps getting better with running the ball as we continue to look at Devin Singletary and get him more and more looks a game. And we still have good old Frank Gore in there, who's not afraid to run downhill. We've seen that more and more the past couple weeks. We know they had a stretch there where it was a little tough for him, but as long as he continues to run downhill, I think we'll be all right. And then, of course, we have a pretty good mobile quarterback ourselves in Josh Allen. Josh Allen's currently second all-time for most rushing TDs by a quarterback in the first 2 seasons of an NFL career, and there's a reason for that because he finds openings. He's able to create with his feet, just like Lamar Jackson. He might not have the speed and athleticism that Lamar Jackson has, but it's still something that you have to watch out for. Going up against the Baltimore Ravens rush defense, who is currently ranked 6th in the NFL, but we keep talking about those past 3 games, right? And how have the Ravens rush defense done the past 3 games? Well, I'm going to tell you that in the last 3 games, they've been 17th, allowing 106 yards of rushing on the ground, so we have to be able to take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. And again, we all know this by now. Everyone's been talking about it. If you control the run game, if you control the time possession, less time for Lamar Jackson to be on the field, and that all equals good things for the Buffalo Bills. More rest for a defense that's going to be winded in this game because they're going to have to work hard to contain Lamar Jackson, to tackle Mark Ingram, to watch those tight ends. Very big to be able to And Ronald, of course, man, thanks for tuning in and thanks for always watching. I appreciate it anytime. So those are some of my keys to victory. My next key to victory is going to be, and we just talked about it a little bit, stopping Baltimore tight ends. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes YouTube's weird sometimes. If you stop the Baltimore tight ends, it really makes Lamar Jackson have to look further downfield. That's really a weakness for him. Rico talks about it in Buffalo Fanatics in his video from earlier this week, so you want to check that out too. But what I will say is the game against San Fran, the Baltimore tight ends really didn't do as well as the numbers might appear. So against San Fran, the Baltimore Ravens had 7 catches for 75 yards and touchdowns. That's all their tight ends combined. Now, if you look at Mark Andrews, probably Lamar Jackson's favorite weapon, he had three receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown. But that's a little deceiving. If you look at those three receptions for 50 yards and touchdown, look at that touchdown catch. One catch, 20 yards and a touchdown. Why is that important? Because that catch was made, that play was made right after a San Francisco turnover. San Fran had the ball, fumbles it deep in their own territory. That 49ers defense does not have a lot of time to rest. And since they don't have a lot of time to rest, what happens? They have a play design ready to go for Andrews to get into the end zone. So you take that away, and now you're looking at 2 catches, 50 yards. I'm okay with that. You take that touchdown away, and you take that away from the tight end total, and you're looking at 6 catches for 55 yards for their tight ends completely. And why is this an important stat? Why are we comparing tight end stats between the San Fran game and the Buffalo Bills game this coming Sunday? Because the San Francisco 49ers are currently ranked first in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. But guess who's right behind them? That's our Buffalo Bills. Our Buffalo Bills are currently ranked second in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. And that's going to be huge in this game because Baltimore, Lamar Jackson loves throwing to his tight ends. So let's make sure we don't commit any turnovers, which is always a key factor in any single game you play. Let's make sure we do not turn the ball over and give the Baltimore Ravens extra possessions. I believe these linebackers, these safeties, can come down and stop this tight end group and really make it a little tougher on Lamar Jackson to maybe try to find Hollywood Brown. But who's going to be on Hollywood Brown, guys? That is going to be, of course, our boy Tre'Davious White. So we have a pretty good feeling about that matchup going our way, right? I know that Trey White sometimes struggles with speed, but if you look at Hollywood Brown's stats, right? Yeah, I know that he has, I think it's 7 touchdowns, but 4 of those touchdowns came in 2 games. So he's really either hot or cold, and I expect him to be cold this game as we have Tre'Davious White on him, hopefully blanketing him all game. So then you look to other wide receivers, and yeah, you'll have a Levi Wallace. Hopefully, maybe even have a Siren Neal. And you might even have more help, and I'll talk about that again in a second. So let me get to some of these comments. What's up with Duke? Duke will not be playing. Again, barring injury to a wide receiver this year, I don't expect Duke to be playing at all the rest of the season. If we haven't seen him since, the Titans game or right after our bye when we play the Dolphins maybe, we're not going to see him the rest of the season barring injury. Guess who Pro Football Focus has as the #1 rated pocket passer, passing QB, Lamar Jackson. I don't know if that, PFF might be a little wrong there. I'm not sure about that, says FinAttack. If you look at how he does great to his tight ends. If you look at how he does to his tight ends, he does wonderfully. But if you look how he does to his wide receivers, I don't think he does as great as that number might suggest. Daniel comes in. Trey White can handle any wide receiver. Absolutely can. Mike comes in. I think we will do better running the boring offense, 5 to 6 yards per play. Control clock and keep it simple. Let the defense do their thing and grind it out. And that might be the best way to come up to a win. But I just talked about 4 keys to victory. Now I'm going to get to the fun one. My biggest key to victory, and I think that's going to be everyone's key to victory, but this whole week, even when we did our collab video with what's now called the Avengers of Bill's YouTube channels, which was funny, and I appreciate that. I said that stopping Lamar Jackson would not be possible, that containing Lamar Jackson is more of a reasonable goal. But after I looked at film, after I watched what Lamar does, after I watched defense stop him, there's a formula. There's a formula that we saw not too long ago that no team has used since for some reason that worked really well. Hey, Attica, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Justin writes in 99% of Bills fans think we're going to lose this game. It's pretty sad, but I can't blame them. It's been a long time since we've been any good. We're now good, and I'm confident that we'll win this. I'm confident unless it comes to Stephen Hauschka 45-yard field goal or longer. That's what I'll say about that. But yeah, I'm confident in Josh Allen. I'm confident in Devin Singletary. I'm confident in this offensive line. I'm confident in this defense to get the job done. Lamar definitely not the best pocket passer in the QB. Against the Chargers in the playoffs comes Jason Crandell. So the LA Chargers played the Baltimore Ravens in the 2019 wildcard playoffs. And let me go through Lamar Jackson's stats from that game. And you tell me, is this containing Lamar Jackson or is this stopping Lamar Jackson? So in that game, Lamar Jackson went 14 for 29, less than 50% completion percentage, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. While he ran the ball, right? Well, he did. He did. Let's talk about the rushing numbers. 9 rushes for 54 yards and three fumbles. Now, he lost 1, but he had 3. And let's talk about that for a second. That's a very, Oliver makes a big difference against, I think you mean against. Let me talk about Ed Oliver since Scott Blakely brought it up. Ed Oliver played against Lamar Jackson when he played in Houston his redshirt freshman year. And who won that matchup? Well, let's see. Ed Oliver had 2.5 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks and a forced fumble in that game. Who was that forced fumble against? I think it was actually against a run back, but it was a running play, if I recall that correctly, against Lamar Jackson. Now, I didn't look too deeply into that game because Houston runs a 3-4, and at that time, we all know that Oliver was more at a nose tackle type position, but there's no reason to think that Leslie Frazier can't mix it up and do that in this game. The Bills are winning Sunday. Daniel comes in, book it. We don't beat ourselves. No dumb penalties. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, Ed Oliver, 2 sacks against Lamar Jackson. That means he's stoppable. You know, we're talking about Rocky versus the Russian, right? Ivan Drago, right? He's a man. He bleeds. He's human. You know, whatever they say. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched that movie in a long time, so I'm sure some of you will understand the reference. Some of you might not get the reference at all. Watch Rocky if you don't. But anyway, so if you look at Lamar Jackson's stats from that game, 14 to 29, 194 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 9 rushes, 54 yards, 3 fumbles, 1 lost. I'm going to say that was stopping Lamar Jackson. Because if you remember that game, both of Lamar's touchdowns came in the 4th quarter when the LA Chargers were already up over 20 points in that game. So very interesting stat line, right? Very interesting stat line to say, hey, we can stop Lamar Jackson. How did the Chargers do it? So I watched the film of this game. I said, what did the Chargers do that no other team has done before and no other team has done since, okay? And I read some articles on this too. The LA Chargers put 7 defensive backs on defense for most of the game against Lamar Jackson. They took out some of their linebackers and they put in defensive backs to be able to contain him, right? You can only run so far on a field. The field is only so wide. So as long as the defense knows their disciplines, knows where they're supposed to be on the field and stays disciplined on the field and doesn't play selfish football, you have a chance to stop Lamar Jackson. I believe that's the key. Few turnovers, no mistakes, and a couple big plays, says Attica. You know, we always talk about turnovers. I just talked about turnovers. San Fran, a lot of touchdown directly off a turnover to True Andrews, right? We can't have turnovers. We know that's a big deal. But let's talk about turnovers on the other side. Do you know in his 2 seasons, in the regular season, not including the 3 fumbles they had against the LA Chargers, Lamar Jackson's fumbled the ball 18 times. 18 times. Everyone talks about what used to be Josh Allen's fumbling issues, right? But let's talk about who has fumbled it 20 times in 2 seasons. But let's talk about Lamar Jackson's. Do you know why? Because Lamar Jackson wasn't a starter for the Baltimore Ravens last season. Yes, he played against the Bills week 1, but it was a mop-up duty in the 4th quarter, right? 18 fumbles. He didn't start a game until week 11 last season when he came in against the Cincinnati Bengals. That is a huge stat. So, he's fumbled the ball 18 times. They've only lost 5, okay? So I understand that. But he puts the ball on the ground. That means when you have him wrapped up, or when you think you have him wrapped up, go for that ball. Go for that ball. We need players to lift up Lamar Jackson. Now, I know they have a quick whistle with those quarterbacks, right? Don't want to get those 15-yard penalties that San Fran got. But strip the ball because Lamar Jackson's showing that you can strip the ball against him. I know Josh Allen has that same problem, right? 20 fumbles, hasn't fumbled the ball recently. Lamar Jackson just had another fumble lost last week against the San Francisco 49ers, so it's a recurring problem still for Lamar Jackson. A big stat there, hopefully a stat that Leslie Frazier, Coach McDermott are drilling into the defense's heads. Now, what I talked about earlier with the LA Chargers putting 7 defensive backs on the field, does that mean I think we need to move out some of our linebackers and put defensive backs on the field? Not necessarily, although I would not be surprised personally if you see Dean Marlowe activated again in this game. Inactive last week. Don't be surprised if you see Dean Marlowe activated this week, and not necessarily for the plays on defense, but I would expect Dean Marlowe to maybe make up for special teams and let Siren Neal play more defensive snaps against Lamar Jackson. I think that might be an interesting thing, right? So let me know if you think this is an interesting theory maybe, but I think Dean Marlowe might be come off the inactive list, so we have another defensive back. Then that defensive back, Dean Marlowe, plays special teams because we saw the special teams do better when Siren Neal was out, when Dean Marlowe came in and was able to produce for that team against the Broncos. Let's see Dean Marlowe come back and be that extra defensive back, play on special teams. Now Siren Neal's available to play more defensive snaps. I think that would be huge, huge. I know the comments are coming by, guys. Again, reminder that if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. I do now have the ability to throw in a super chat. So if you want your comment read, I will do my best to read them as they come by. But if you use a super chat, then it gives me a little notification. I'll make sure your chat gets read. And again, thank you for supporting this channel. Snarl comes in. Our kicker hasn't been right since he got lit up by the Jets cheap shot. That was last year. I think that was week 12 or something like that. And you're correct. He hasn't been right since then. Nomo, what happens if Lamar Jackson happens to get his legs broken before the game? I never wish injury on anybody. And listen, Lamar Jackson, I know we want to beat him this week, right? But Lamar Jackson is a special talent. I still remember watching Michael Vick play. And not only did I feel robbed about with watching Michael Vick play because of the whole dog fighting scandal and his time in jail, but if you remember, he had a preseason game against the Baltimore Ravens, and I forget what year of his career it was, and he tore his ACL, and he was out for the year that season, and I really felt robbed, right? That was back when he played with Atlanta. I really felt robbed of a lot of highlights. I don't want that to happen. If you want to say, hey, he twists his ankle, can't play for a quarter, right, while he's getting it tweaked, I'm okay with that. But I don't want to see that happen for a whole season because I think this guy is a highlight machine, and I think we all can enjoy what Lamar Jackson does on the field as an athlete. Again, I don't think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league still, but I guarantee you he's one of the top 5, if not the best athlete in the NFL. So we'll see what happens. Lamar is good for the NFL. I do think that as well. I think we should look at other kickers. Well, if you were listening, listening to I think it was Ian Rappaport reported that we were looking to get Chase McLaughlin off of waivers, but the Colts got him first. So they were first in the waiver order. They picked him up, and the Bills were a team of interest who put in a claim for him, but he did go to the Indianapolis Colts. So we just missed out on Chase McLaughlin. Wonder what that will do for Stephen Hauschka. Will that give him more amped up, ready to go, or will that make his confidence go down the tubes? We'll see what happens on Sunday. New England also put in a waiver for him. Yes, they did. Yes, they did, Spin. So there were 3 teams putting a waiver for him. Colts got him. But that now as kicker, Stephen Hauschka knows, hey, the Bills are looking. The Bills are not afraid to move on. Just because you just got contract extension, that doesn't guarantee anything. The Bills are okay saying, here's your guaranteed money, get away. Because it's about winning in this league, and if you're losing games for the Buffalo Bills, then we have to look elsewhere. Now, luckily, the offense carried us to a big win against Dallas, but it wasn't without its own Stephen Hauschka drama. So we'll see what happens. I heard a rumor of Odell Beckham wanting out of Cleveland. To clarify, it's funny how rumors start. He didn't make it clear. He didn't make it known his future in Cleveland. So now people want to make it sound like he wants to leave Cleveland. That's not necessarily always the case. I know that he's probably not as happy as he wants to be. But hey, we'll see what happens. Scott Blakely coming in with the super chat. Scott, I really appreciate it. Getting a little tired of the fear we have against Lamar. I get it. He is very good, but our speed at linebackers and a big day for our interior line, he can be contained. You talk about speed for linebackers. So I told you about the Chargers bringing 7 defensive backs and having the linebackers mostly sit on the sideline. Let's talk about our linebackers because our linebackers are not that slow. In fact, as Scott just alluded to, pretty dang fast. So the NFL average for linebackers as far as 40 times in the NFL is, let me get this right, 4.705. That's the average 40 speed for linebackers according to Wikipedia, right? So if you look at our linebackers, and we'll take Lorenzo Alexander out of this because let's be honest, they were back when he did the 40, they were still using a sundial, so it's a little slower than maybe it should be. I don't know what that was, but okay. So I don't think that we could take what Lorenzo Alexander did into account. He did run a 5.71 40 time. So I think I personally would not be surprised if we do not see Lorenzo Alexander on the field all that much in this game, minus maybe some like obvious passing downs, right? We get to like a 3rd and 13, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Lorenzo Alexander in as often as we do. I'll be interested to see defensive snap counts come Monday or Tuesday for this game and see how much Lorenzo Alexander plays because, again, you talk about 5.17 40 time when you're talking about one of the fastest quarterbacks to ever play this game because he's going to break. Lamar Jackson is going to break Michael Vick's rushing record for a season for quarterbacks this year. It's going to happen. I just hope it doesn't happen against us, right? So that is going to happen. But look at our other four linebackers. You're talking about Tremaine Edmonds going 4.54, Matt Milano going 4.67, Corey Thompson 4.56, and Julian Stanford 4.51. Between those four, they average 4.57 40 time. And I always feel like on the field speed's faster than your 40 time. And again, the average linebacker speed is 4.7 plus. You're talking about 12 to 13 tenths of a second difference between our linebackers and the average NFL linebackers. So can Edmonds and Cam Milano keep Lamar Jackson in check? Absolutely. So what if we have a bunch of defensive backs, right? You have Trey White in there, you have Levi Wallace in there, you throw in Kevin Johnson, you throw in Siren Neal, and then you talk about having Micah Hyde and Poyer, and then you have your 2 linebackers. You talk about having Edmonds and Milano, bring in Julian Stanford every once in a while, and again, obvious passing downs, you still play Lorenzo Alexander, but then you have your four ends and tackles in there, and you are set. And that's how you stop Lamar Jackson, run side to side. You still, again, are that second best defense at containing tight ends. You still need to use that to your advantage. And again, we need to make him throw to the outside. Lamar Jackson's weakness, one of his weaknesses, especially in college, watching film on this, was throwing screens to his right side, right? He's a right-handed quarterback, has a hard time spinning around, right? So I expect to see a lot of Hollywood Brown on the right side of Lamar Jackson when we're talking about lining up, because if Trey White's covering him and they don't think that they're going to get a lot of openings for Hollywood Brown, they might put him on the right side anyhow, because that's where Lamar Jackson struggles the most. So, hey, don't throw it over there. We'll put Hollywood Brown over there. We'll put their best corner over there in the Buffalo Bills, and you'll be all set. So it'll be interesting to see that. But let me get through some of the comments here. Angry Buffalo Sports fan says Smoke is going to throw a TD pass to himself against the Ravens. Hey, if Smoke can throw it. If the defense falls for another John Brown touchdown pass, I think we really need to give Dable credit, because it will be something really creative. And we have to talk about that too, right? Because now we've had a week and a half of preparation. Remember, according to Coach McDermott, they started practicing that just a few weeks prior. So what has Dable, what has Frazier kind of boiled up in their lab room that they can throw at Jacksonville, that they can throw at Lamar Jackson, that they haven't seen yet? Because, guys, if you look at the if you look at the coaching stats, and that's something important too that Rico talks about again at Buffalo Fanatics. Again, check out Buffalo Fanatics. Check out Dan Mitchell and Don Mafia. He does a great job and some great stats in his pregame video too. A preview video. Again, if you want a great pump-up video, something that's going to amp you up, go over to #Sports. They have this great video out right now for Lamar Jackson and our quarterback Josh Allen, so you want to check that out as well. And I know that Blindside Sports Buffalo Bills just posted a video today previewing the game. I'm going to check that out either later tonight or tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that out as well. But one thing I do want to say is, you talk about Dable, you talk about Leslie Frazier. Excuse me, guys. I need to get a drink. I'm apologizing. I need to get a drink. That has nothing to do with the skill level of either team to spin. You know I put money on the Bills. That's all I'm saying. 5.5 points? Are you kidding me? Thank you. Thank you for the points. We're going to win the game. In Buffalo? Man, you got to be kidding me. But Juan Castillo, thank you. Yeah, hey, again, I was watching video because not only did the Bills have a week and a half to prepare, not only does the coaching staff has a week and a half to prepare, I had a week and a half to look at film, and I surely did. I promise you I did. But if you look at the coaching staff, you look at Leslie Frazier, and you look at Sean McDermott, their track record against Greg Roman offenses isn't okay, isn't pretty good. It's dominant. It's dominant, and that goes back to Sean McDermott. The Carolina Panthers played against Greg Roman's offense in San Fran. I believe it was in 2012 when San Fran went to the Super Bowl. They played against him in the regular season, and they had a pretty athletic quarterback then too in Colin Kaepernick. Now listen, I think Lamar Jackson is a much better athlete than Colin Kaepernick, but similar, right? And they shut him down. The Panthers won that game. And again, that's the year San Fran went to the Super Bowl to play the Ravens in the Super Bowl. So give me Coach McDermott, give me Coach Leslie Frazier. If you go back to the Leslie Frazier versus Greg Roman offense versus defense days, go back to Leslie Frazier's complete coaching career, big time advantage to Leslie Frazier, okay? And someone commented about that in one of my other videos. I looked that up. I think it's like 6-1 between Leslie Frazier and Greg Roman, something like that. It's something ridiculous. So give me Coach McDermott, give me Leslie Frazier versus a Greg Roman run offense. Now, I will say that the Baltimore Ravens have a good coaching staff up and down, just like I think the Buffalo Bills do, right? You look at the past 3 games, and although Brian Flores has the Dolphins playing well, let's be honest, we're just a more talented team. Talk about that game against the Broncos, I think we have a better coaching staff there. Talk about that game last week against the Dallas Cowboys, I think we have a better coaching staff there. So this might be the first matchup in a little bit where you see 2 good coaching staffs, right? Harbaugh versus McDermott. Now we know McDermott and the coaching staff can outsmart Dallas's coaching staff. Can they do it to a coaching staff of Baltimore's caliber, which, let's be honest, is just a caliber above the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff? So because Baltimore is normally a disciplined team, right? You're not going to find Singletary open too often on a double reverse against a Baltimore Ravens coach team, or a Jim Harbaugh coach team, I should say. But you might see that against a Jason Garrett type team. So that's going to be important too, watching these coaching staffs. But again, guys, you know how it is. The time of possession is going to be important in this game. You talk about turnovers. You can't turn the ball over. Turn the ball over equals extra possessions for the offense. And with an explosive offense like Baltimore's, it only takes one play. It only takes one play for them to start clicking, and then you don't want to give them the ball ever again. So we need to watch out for that. We need to stop Mark Ingram as well. I know we want to focus on Lamar, but just focus on your lane, right? Focus on what your zone is. Don't fall for the juke and jive and just attack the ball carrier. That's all you got to do. Attack the ball carrier. Don't let him juke you out of play and juke you out of position. Be in position, either make the tackle or lead him into a tackle. You can do that too. When you see Lamar Jackson begin to run, this defense needs to swarm him. And this defense does a pretty good job swarming the ball. I like what this team has been doing on defense, the Buffalo Bills. So continue to do that. Again, guys, hit that like button if you haven't already. Thank you guys for joining me. 27 people in here. Would love to see at least 27 likes when we get out of here as well. Nice measuring. Snarl comes in. Finish that comes in. Don't forget that McDermott was a D coordinator when the Eagles, when the Eagles with Vic. And I think someone brought that up. He was a D coordinator with Vic, and he had Cam. So, yeah, I think that was another video, maybe even Dan's video over on Mafia. But, yeah, look at McDermott's quarterback tree, right? When he was a defensive coordinator for the Eagles under Jimmy Johnson, they had Michael Vick there, so practicing against Michael Vick every single day. And then you talk about playing Carolina, practicing against Cam Newton every single day. And now even here in Buffalo, you talk about athletic quarterbacks. We have a pretty athletic quarterback ourselves, practicing against Josh Allen every single day. We did have we had Ray McLeod come in to pretend to be Lamar Jackson. Might be able to match his speed, probably can't match his throwing accuracy. we talked about Coach McDermott saying earlier this week that we might need 3 separate guys to pretend to be Lamar Jackson on the field at the same time and see what happens, because that's kind of athlete Lamar Jackson is, and you do have to give him credit for that. But when it comes to passing stats, Baltimore bottom third, I believe, in the league in passing yards a game. I think they're 25th. We're not much better at 22nd, but they're below us at 25th. So stop the run, stop those tight ends. Those are the big keys, of course, and I think we can and will stop Lamar Jackson. Let's get to some of these more comments. Scott Bailey comes in and agreed 3 points won't cut it. Yeah, no, we have to get 7 every single time we win the red zone. Baltimore is going to get frustrated with our D. Well, our D and San Fran's D very similar. Again, like I said, San Fran number 1 against tight ends. We're number 2 against tight ends. So we have good interior defense. I mean, I think we have a better cornerback, number 1 cornerback with Trey White, but very similar defensive styles, schemes. So if they got frustrated last week, they're going to get frustrated again this week. Again, I want to avoid those penalties. San Fran had 6 penalties last week, but a lot of unsportsmanlike or personal foul penalties. Those 15-yard automatic first downs, killers. You know, if you want to give me a false start, you want to give me something like that, that's fine. Don't give me a lot of penalties that lead to automatic first downs. That's just gonna be a killer. You know, I think we've done a lot better with that, averaging 7 penalties a game, but we still need to do better. Still something that we should constantly strive to be better in. At Finn, yeah, no, great point by him. Jack Patrick comes in. I'm taking a whiff of the brain cells sizzling in the craniums of Bill's doubters, and people who are not now waking up to the reality of the fact that schedule doesn't really indicate team strength. No, it doesn't. And, you know, there are people talking to me about next year's Buffalo Bills and the strength of schedule that we'll play next year. And I'm like, listen, there's no telling what a team's going to look like in a year. You can't tell me that. I hate when people come out with, in the preseason, when people come out and say, this team's strength schedule is terrible. When you come into last week and say, the Bills have the 32nd strength of schedule the remainder of the season, I get that, right? Because you've seen the season play out for a good part of it, a good chunk, but injury can change everything. If we go into this game, and again, I hate seeing injury, but first drive of the game, Lamar Jackson gets hurt, that's going to change things a little bit. You know what I mean? RG3, even though he was a very athletic quarterback, not nearly the quarterback that Lamar Jackson has become. And I'm not saying that we would have to take RG3 lighter than Lamar Jackson. I think RG3, if taken lightly, can make some noise and do some damage. So you have to be careful of that. But let's say Lamar Jackson gets hurt on the first drive of this game. Changes the game. Let's say Josh Allen gets hurt on the first drive of this game. Changes the game. So I don't buy strength of schedule. I think it's a weak stat. I think that you just have to watch a game and a season play out. That's my opinion. Surely going up against Josh in practice every day. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Leslie Frazier, Coach McDermott, that is what they're doing. Snarl comes in. No, they still pushing their narrative that teams nowadays are so yo-yo. Now strength schedule in regular season means nothing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bills defense, play containment. Yeah, play contain. Play your style of defense. Don't play selfish football, right? Contain your area. You playing zone defense, just stay in your zone. There's no, until you see the ball past the line of scrimmage, you see the ball carrier, then attack. Again, Lamar Jackson, 18 fumbles in his career in the NFL already, 2 less than Josh Allen in a far fewer amount of games. So go after that ball. Now he's only lost 5 of them, but that means that ball is loose, can be loose for taking. So you figure Ingram's lost a couple fumbles this year. You talk about Lamar Jackson losing a couple fumbles this year. Go after that ball, force some turnovers yourself, get some extra possessions for you guys, for your offense, for Josh Allen, for John Brown, for Devin Singletary. Make their defense tired, help us out a long way. The NFL changes week to week, much less year to year, says Dan. Absolutely. Deshaun Watson was doing things on the ground as well until his ACL slowed him down on running. Yeah, he's had some injuries already in his young career too. Still an amazing athlete. We just saw him last week against New England. Still looks really good, right? Really good. So we don't play him this year. I think we'll play him next year. And especially if we win the division, we'll go up against those division champs. But guys, we're a game back in the division, right? Kansas City beats New England this week. We can take over that division lead. If the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens, I think everything's going to look good for us. We control our own destiny at that point. So, and again, look, we're about 92%, 93% to make the playoffs as we speak. 9-3, 5th seed, 2 games up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We play Pittsburgh the following week in prime time. So again, Guys, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, like this video. Now is a good time to remind everyone, if you haven't already subscribed, even if you have already subscribed, that you can go to BewareTheStampede.com between now and the Patriots game, which I believe is December 21st. So the contest went December 20th. You could sign up to win this Andre Reed signed Buffalo Bills jersey. Again, we are thanking everyone for getting me to that 1,000 view subscriber mark. So again, to thank you, go to BewareTheStampede.com. Again, even if you're already a subscriber, just put your name in where it says for you to put your name in. It will verify it and that you are a subscriber and count as an entry. Follow us on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Do all the things. Again, go BewareTheStampede.com. 6 ways to enter. And then the one is an entry that you can make every single day. So make sure you're entering to win yourself an Andre Reed autographed jersey. We have some other prizes too. I think I showed one. I think it was a Daryl Talley signed 8x10 that I'll be giving away as well. We'll get some koozies from BewareTheStampede.com with some stickers as well. Some really cool prizes. And again, as Mike comes in and talks about Ed Oliver, remember Ed Oliver did play against Lamar Jackson his rookie season at Houston, and he got 2 sacks against him. So I think Ed Oliver will understand the speed of Lamar Jackson and be able to contain him at that defensive tackle position. Again, Ed Oliver 4 sacks in the last 3 games. So really impressive stuff. He's coming on at the right time. I think it's a little late for him to get in that defensive rookie of the year conversation, but definitely coming in at the right time and getting hot. Hopefully he stays that way against the Baltimore Ravens. Corey Liuget might have a big game as we go to stop Ingram as well. We know how Ingram did when he played with the Saints against us a few seasons back. That game was in Buffalo. I think he rushed for over 150 yards against us in that game, and the Saints just cruised in that game. I think it was 47-7. That's the game Nathan Peterman came in and threw a touchdown pass in the 4th quarter. So everyone, of course, loved him until he started throwing interception after interception after interception. He's still throwing interceptions as we speak. But again, if you haven't signed up for the giveaway on BewareTheStampede.com, be sure to do that. And guys, I do want to remind everyone, as we talk about Hashtag Sports and Believers Talk teaming up, Hashtag Sports is currently running a football squares giveaway, $5 per square. All the proceeds going to the Pump Foundation. Guys, squares are running out for the game this Sunday. They're doing the last 4 games of the season. Squares are running out this Sunday for the game against the Baltimore Ravens. It's $5 a square, giving out great Bills merchandise. I was with them when they got a lot of that stuff autographed. You're talking about Lorenzo Alexander. You're talking about Tre'Davious White. You're talking about Levi Wallace. You're talking about some great autographs, some great stuff. So make sure, again, $5 a box. You know how the Super Bowl squares normally work. Same way. You'll get your square. They'll tell you the winners, and it will be a great time. And the giveaway is random too. What the prize that you'll get will be random. They won't even know what you get until you open it and tell them, hopefully, and then they'll know what you received at that time. But go over to Hashtag Sports. There are plenty of ways to pay, whether it be Venmo, whether it be Cash App. They have all that kind of stuff over there. But again, guys, and if you don't, just email them to hashtagsports@gmail.com. But again, guys, thank you for joining me. 1 square left for Baltimore, says Daniel. Careful, because if this stream ends, I might grab it, because I think I only have 2 right now, so I still have 2 more I can grab. We are going to win out. That's right, on to Miami Super Bowl. Maybe still not as nice as over there in Hawaii, Jack, but still pretty nice in Miami. We can start talking about Super Bowl, maybe make more noise than anyone would have ever expected. Shock the world, as Dan Mitchell from Mafia would say. But again, guys, thank you for joining me on this edition of Believers Talk. Again, went through a lot in this episode. We talked about our keys to victory and how I think the Buffalo Bills can stop Lamar Jackson. Again, we saw it in that 2019 wildcard game against the LA Chargers, right? 7 defensive backs on the field. Our linebackers are faster than the average linebacker in the NFL. So that will play a huge factor in this game. You have fast linebackers. Again, you look at Tremaine Edmonds, who's running a 4.54 40 time. You look at Julian Stanford, might play a huge role in this game. 4.51, that's going to be big, possibly. That's going to be big. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see Dean Marlowe activated for this game. Who does that mean is going to be added to the inactive list? Not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Give Siren Neal a chance to step up as a defensive back on defense. Have Dean Marlowe step up on special teams. Who knows what's going to happen, but I guarantee you Leslie Frazier, Coach McDermott are going to have a game plan, and I look forward to seeing it. I hope you do too. Again, join me right here on YouTube. Join me on Sportscaster as we bring you that game live this Sunday as the Buffalo Bills go up against the Baltimore Ravens. Again, let's go Bills. Thank you guys for joining me again. If you haven't already hit that like button, hit that like button. If you're not watching us live, leave a comment. Happy to get back to you. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. You're really missing out if you're not. So again, thank you for joining me. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.